There's only really 3 ways to make money. There's a 4th way for someone who's spiritual. I'll share that with you. The first way is basically renting your body. And you're like, oh, wait a minute, what is this? Oh, what this? No, renting your body. If you work by the hour as a consultant, or if you work by the year, you are renting your body. And so guess what? When you rent your body, you got to realize something, that your body lives in this concept of time, and there's only 2,000 hours in a year. When I first started the business, I said to myself, you know what? I'm not that smart. At the most, I could probably charge $60 an hour. And if I basically work for 1,000 hours and then I sold 1,000 hours, I'd basically max out my income at only about $60,000. I'm like, I'm not making any money. And so you got to realize when you were renting your body is limited in the hours that you could do. And so in order for you to increase the value of renting your body, is that you got to do it through increasing the value, but the way you do that is through training and by building trust. The other way to make money is called the distribution conversation. This is where you're part of a, let's say, shareholders or something, or you own part of a company with someone, and you distribute it at the end of the year and you have a conversation. That's called the distribution conversation. Now, I don't really espouse having a partnership. In fact, I don't have a partner. And so at the end of the year, I go, hey, Bennett Santana, how much money you want to take home? And I go, Bennett, why don't you take it all home? And I'm like, oh, Bennett, you're so kind. I love your generosity, Bennett. I have that conversation with myself at the end of the year. Very easy, because there's only one person, right? But imagine if I had that conversation with someone else. I don't know if you're worth that, Ben. You know, maybe you're not worth that. And then we'd have to go back and forth. I'd hate that conversation. So just to let you know, distribution conversation, power conversation. The other area is area of anticipation. And this is where you're making an informed decision about tomorrow. And you're making an investment, and then because you foresee a future trend. Listen, you buy a house here in Chicago, it will technically grow. But let me just kind of tell you, I grew up in Gary, Indiana. My dad, he bought a house. I think back then he paid like $15,000, or it was probably worth a 3-flat. That's what they were going for. Right? It should have been worth, when I sold it should have been worth in the 100-something range. You know how much I sold that house for? You're not going to believe it. I sold that house for $7,000. $7,000. Why? It's either sell it for $7,000 or pay for the $5,000 to have it knocked down. No one has ever seen that, right? So when you make that decision, make an informed decision about the future, obviously there's risk and there's actually reward, but don't expect everything to go up. It should let you know, even in real estate. You're limited by what money you have to invest, and you're limited by your ability to see the future. So that's the basic 3 areas of making money, and then I promise you a 4th. If you're a spiritual person, there's actually a 4th way. And the 4th way is listen to the prophets and you shall prosper. And I will tell you, I've interviewed many business owners throughout my life, and the successful business owners, I always ask, how did you get into what you're doing? And they'll say, listen, someone told me about this, or hey, my mom has asked me, my mom told me about this. And so there's that 4th way, is listen to the prophets and you shall prosper. And that's something, there's always a prophetic voice. If you're wanting to hear it, there's always a voice that'll tell you what you should do. And I tell you, that's like the 4th way, and that's an extra credit. If you enjoyed this, follow for more.